guys, Ryan Buckosh here, Brunswick Bowling Core Design Engineer, here today to talk to you about two new releases in the Brunswick Bowling lineup, the Prism Warp Hybrid and the Melee Jab Blood Red. First up, the Prism Warp Hybrid contains the same portal asymmetrical core that Brunswick fans have grown to love. That core contains a .051 total differential and a .018 intermediate differential. As with the other Prism series releases, this core contains dot, which means you can put any layout on this ball you want without worrying about drilling through the pin or voiding the warranty, and it also has dynamic core, which is the blue stuff found in the outer core that helps transfer the energy from the ball to the pins at impact. Different with the Prism Warp Hybrid is the ACT 2.0 Hybrid cover stock that's finished at 500/1000 compound, and it is the hybrid version of the ACT 2.0 solid that you found on the original Prism Warp. Now what's different about this hybrid cover is that you'll notice there is sparkle in the pearl colors of the hybrid mix. What this sparkle does is it acts akin to the textured pearl that you see in some of the Radical releases, and similar to the sparkle that you found in the uppercut. It gives the ball a little more mid-lane traction and a little more continuation on the back end without sacrificing any of the length. So you'll notice this ball being a little rounder and a little stronger and a little more on the back end than the original Prism Hybrid. Next up, we have the Melee Jab Blood Red. The Melee Jab Blood Red is very similar to the Melee Jab SE that was released at Bowl Expo last year. It has the same Melee Jab core that everyone is so familiar with. That core, as a reminder, has a .050 total differential. This ball also has dynamic core, which increases the hitting power when the ball gets through the pins. This core is wrapped around the Savvy Hook 2.0 Pearl cover stock, finished at 500/1000 and compound on top. And that's the exact same finishing process that was used on the Melee Jab SE last year. The difference with this ball, other than the color, is that it has just a fraction more hook from the mid lane to the pins, but you'll see a very overall similar reaction and a very overall similar hook potential to the Melee Jab SE from previous year's release. Without further delay, let's take you guys to the hook chart and see how these two new releases stack up against the rest of the balls in the Brunswick lineup. This chart contains every ball that Brunswick has released from January until now. You'll notice that they're categorized by oil volume on the bottom on the x-axis, with the heaviest on the left and lightest on the right, and on the y-axis down the sides, categorized by ball motion, with early strong mid lane on top, angular back end in the middle, and smooth continuous on the bottom. They're categorized this way instead of having angular back end on top, because if you draw a trend line from the top left to the bottom right of the chart, then you get the balls that are the strongest and most suited for heavy oil volumes on the top left of the chart, down to the balls that are the cleanest and most suited for lightest volumes on the bottom right of the chart. Because the prisms were introduced in October, they're not on this chart, but I'll add them now for the sake of comparison. Looking at our new releases, highlighted in yellow, you can see that the Prism Warp Hybrid fits neatly in the medium heavy oil category with an angular back-end motion. The Prism Warp Hybrid is a little more ball at the back of the lane than the original Prism Hybrid because of the ACT 2.0 cover formulation, but also because the pearl in the hybrid mix has sparkle that helps the continuation. Looking at the chart, you can see that the original Prism Solid is the earliest and strongest of the four Prism releases, followed closely by the Prism Warp, which has a little more length and a little more shape down lane. The new Prism Warp Hybrid fits neatly between the Prism Warp Solid and the original Prism Solid. These balls altogether make an amazing 1, 2, 3, and even 4 ball asymmetrical lineup. If you feel like the Prism Warp Hybrid is a little too close to the original Prism Hybrid, if you've got that ball, then you can easily separate these two with layout choice or with surface preparation. The Melee Jab Blood Red hooks just a little less than the Prism Warp and is less angular at the back of the lane because it is a symmetrical chord ball. Compared to a like-drilled uppercut, the Melee Jab Blood Red is cleaner through the front part of the lane with a more decisive move in the friction. If I were to compare the Melee Jab Blood Red to the Melee Jab SE, I would put the SE right on top of the Blood Red on the hook chart, which is why you don't see it here. The Blood Red is effectively a remake of last year's SE, because being a special edition ball, they were made in limited quantities. Brunswick fans absolutely love the melee jab motion, so we wanted to give fans an opportunity to pick up that ball if they didn't get it last year. Also, if you had a melee jab SE and you threw it a bunch, here's your opportunity to pick up a new one to replace it, or to grab another one and put a different layout on it to complement your jab SE. That's all the information I have on these two new releases from Brunswick. Remember, they're available in ProShop starting September 3rd. If you enjoyed this content, make sure that you share this video around, like and subscribe to my page, and check back because I'll be making new videos as new releases from the Brunswick family of products come out. Until next time, thanks for watching. Please like and share this page around, and I don't know.